When you think about the ultimate off-grid road trip in Australia, for most of us, we'd have to put Cape York right up the top of our bucket list, and for good reason too. That usually involves zooming straight up the PDR, onto the Tele Track, up the tip, touch the sign, reverse order, back down again. This is Steph and Harley's first time up the Cape, and I swore to them we were going to do it completely differently.
Mate, that's bloody spectacular.
Bloody love it.
And that means we're going to avoid the PDR at all cost.
FNQ barra. That's my first barra in Queensland.
Second low, and go, go, go. Everyone rushes up that PDR, but sometimes if you just look to the side, find spots like this. This is a trip I've been looking forward to for bloody years. This is Cape York, the off-grid way. Here's a location that I don't reckon too many people lump together when they start thinking about an epic Cape York trip. We are camped right in the heart, the guts of the Atherton Tablelands. Ahead of us lies a couple of weeks of the type of Cape York trip that I bet none of you have really thought about doing before. The typical track north is to follow the Peninsula Development Road all the way to the tip. However, for us, we've plotted a completely different route, full of incredible swimming spots, fishing holes full of barra, historical artefacts that you never knew existed, and free camps that'll blow you away. For us tonight though, fire going, river down there, we've got steaks, beers, everything is looking good. Night one. You know what I'm talking about. From Mount Garnet, we're taking the Coolgara Road, which we'll follow all the way into the little town of Irvanbank. A route that we've been told is worth the trek.
How bloody good is this orch we're finally getting to do, Cape York?
Mate, we're here, we're in it.
I know.
We're amongst it.
First up though, the plan is to reach a cracking little waterhole, which we've been told is a must-do. But to get there, we have a long, windy, uphill four-wheel drive track to get the vans through. They seem to have come to a stop. Which is like waving a red flag in front of a bull. You can see here just how scrabbly the road is. It's all about getting that momentum going again without losing traction.
There we go.
Never look steep on camera, ever. Never look steep on camera. That is a real pinch coming through there, and when you've got the vans on the back, we're fully loaded. We've got both tanks full of water, we've got all the fuel on board, food. Pulling a load, coming up these steep, shaly roads, speaks for itself, doesn't it? Low range, flat out to get up here. Look on Steph's face. The Tableland region is scattered with some of the most spectacular waterfalls you'll find, and Milla Falls is no exception. Located within a few hours of Irvanbank, it's the perfect spot to pull in for a visit. Now that is undeniably, utterly freaking spectacular. You know this trend everyone's doing at the moment? You get in the bath and put all the ice and you get in there and you, 1, 2. What's with that? Don't do that. Stay in bed an extra half an hour. As far as getting in there is concerned, it's like 8 degrees, man. I'll try it. But have a go at that. Have a go at that. That's next level.
North Queensland. Bloody love it.
These swimming holes really are everywhere up here. You could spend an entire week just waterfall hopping. For us though, a quick freshen up and it's time to get back on the road. Just up ahead, I've got something we need to check out. It's going to come as a bit of a shock to you because we've been driving through absolute wilderness for quite some time now. We're about to pop out into quite a major city just down here.
In the middle of nowhere.
Major city, you reckon?
The traffic shouldn't be too bad. I just hope we get the lights on the way in. Don't get too many red lights. But yeah, we're heading into quite a major little centre down in here. Here we go. First sign of civilization. Absolute traffic jam through here. This little spot right here is Brian's Shed. Nestled right on the edge of the little town of Irvanbank. Brian opens up his shed to tourists travelling through, and he loves a good yarn. With one of the most impressive displays of engines, machinery and memorabilia from the tin mining days in the area. Now Brian has just said to us, he doesn't collect anything. He's never collected an item in his life. He's just never thrown anything away. We first turned up here, Brian sort of swept his arm around this entire shed, and he said there's not one motor here that doesn't run. I looked around, there's probably conservatively 100 motors here. Every single one of them runs, and not only runs perfectly. I think I should fly Brian into WA and set him to work on my G60 Patrol. Drag car, that's what I'm thinking. He could turn that thing into 4 second quarter mile. What is this, Brian?
It's a Blitz truck. It was bought just after the war in the 50s for mining here. In the 70s I bought it for spare parts. And the Chev's that good. The only thing I used out of this was the gearbox.
Look at the size of the diff on the thing. This place really is worth adding to your Cape York itinerary. There is not one single machine that is currently not running here. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, hang on, you've got to get into it. It's incredible. This is Brian's shed. It's actually literally on the road into Urbanbank. In fact, you drive through his sheds to come. He lives on one side and he's got sheds on both sides of the road. When you're coming through Urbanbank, I think I'm saying that right, I'm not 100% sure, make sure you can't not drop into Brian's shed. And like I say, if you think you're going to spend half an hour here before lunch, you're not. You're going to be here for half a day. Absolutely classic, as is Brian himself. With the afternoon quickly running away on us, it's time to saddle up and head for camp. Sun is getting low, as you can see. That signifies a couple of things. First and foremost, we're going to find camp. I've got a really good spot lined up. Last night was 6 degrees as a minimum. I'll say that again because we're in Cape York. 6 degrees as a minimum. That means we've got to get a fire going tonight. So let's get into camp. It's been a cracker of a day. Get a bit of dinner on the go. Cape York really does offer picture-perfect camping. This little gem is between Urbanbank and Pedford, and exactly where you want to be for tomorrow's adventures. Get a load of this place, will you? We haven't travelled a long way today, but we've travelled through, if we were on the eastern side of where we are right now, heavily touristed routes. Today, I think I saw one car today. We've seen a multitude of campsites we could have taken. We just picked this one because it was the right time of day. Not a soul, folks. This is what I'm talking about. Everyone rushes up that PDR, gets on the Tele Track. I know you got to do it. I know you're time poor. I get that. But sometimes if you just look to the side, find spots like this. Now, I'm not on cooking duty tonight. I am on fire duty. I'm going to make that super simple on myself. I'm going to put a whole heap of wood in there and light it. Campfire done. Sit back with my chair, crack a brewski. You know what the rest is.
Righto team, we are on cooking duties for tonight. Now this is nothing new, it's our stock standard veggie curry, but because we're going to be in the Cape for a couple of weeks, we had to do quite a big shop at the beginning and we need to use these veggies before they go off. So good way to sneak in a few veggies at the beginning of a trip, and from here on in it's just frozen bags of everything, right?
Yeah, that's it. Young fella, come here.
Veggie curry.
Crazy, I know.
Not often you hear me say that is freaking superb. It's the herbs and spices, I think, that does it.
The nuts.
Who doesn't love them? Now, listen, we got a big day tomorrow. I suggest we get in early, have a couple of vinos around the fire, get this down us, and I reckon we get away from here by about 6:30. You okay with that?
Yeah, well, we do have some kilometres to cover.
We're getting away by
No.
6:30 tomorrow morning. Fire time now. Come on. Get this into you. Come on.
Right, let's go.
Sun has just come up, cup of coffee on the go, about to make some breakfast. Now, I said to the kids last night around the campfire, we've got a big day today, I want you up nice and early. All I can hear over there, can you pick that up? All I can hear is their diesel heater. Haven't seen them, nothing, zero, zip. Millennials. For those of you watching at home wondering, Graham, you're on the road, you're on holidays, why the need for an early start? Well, the route we've got planned over the next few days is jam-packed with plenty to see and do. And I'm just bloody excited.
Glorious.
With the kids finally out of bed, we're not mucking around with getting camp packed up and back on the road. We've got some ground to cover today, with one spot marked on the map that's known up here as the Uluru of far north Queensland. And hopefully, with a bit of luck, we might just reach the pub with no beer. Big day today, guys. We've got to put some miles down, a bit of dust, a bit of dirt.
Yeah, love that, mate. If yesterday was anything to go by, then today should be an absolute ripper. It's looking like a perfect day.
Righto, you might want to space out a bit. We're going to kick up some dust.
Rightio, let's go.
Woohoo! This never gets old. You know, a lot of these long trips, you know, like Cape York, Kimberley, Simpson Desert, any of those big epic outback trips, you really want to do a bit of preventative maintenance. One problem we've always had in Cape York with any vehicle, doesn't matter the make, brand, if they've got drum brakes on, the conditions up here mean those drum brakes do not go home the way they came out. Look at what we're driving on now, these fast sort of dusty roads. Do that for a couple hundred Ks, those drums just fill up with that fine dust, add a bit of water at a water crossing, turns to a fine paste, that's an abrasive. Put 2 and 2 together, add some mud to that, and well, you've just got yourself sandpaper inside your drum brakes. Choose everything out. Before coming on this trip, we decided we'd do a bit of preventative maintenance on the D-Max. We grabbed ourselves a Petter's drum to disc conversion kit, whacked her on there. I don't reckon you can ever have too good of brakes. You just want brakes that work. Thus, just chucking that old Petter's drum to disc conversion on the D-Max means it's just so much safer for the kids towing out here. And it's one of those things, get it done, don't think about it again. Right, we got word of a little secret squirrel fishing location. There's a bit of a river running down through here. Home to the mighty barramundi now. Caught my fair share of barramundi, but barra are one of those fish. They're elusive. They want you to come back. You're drawn back to them. I've got everything I need in my old dry pack here. I've got a couple of fishing rods. I've got all the ideas. Let's see how we go. Listen to that. No bosses, no alarms, no sirens. Just the sound of Cape York. Sensational. Oh, fish. Oh, it's a nice little fish too. Gee whiz. It's a nice little fish in the shallows. That's what you come up here for. Look at that little guy. We call these things rat barra, R-A-T, rat barra. They're only little fish. Super fun in the shallows though, of course. You wolf that down. Anyone that says they're not hungry when it gets cold, well, didn't ask him if he'd had breakfast or not. This little guy can go back, but look at the colours on him. Just a gorgeous fish. And in this skinny water like this, they go so hard. They're so much fun to catch. Let's get this hook out and get him back in, eh? See ya! Well, I haven't heard anything from up the river, and I know for a fact if they hook a barra, half of Cape York's going to hear them, so I guess I'm one up. I mean, it's not a competition, is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, and I'm one up.
That's a bloody brand new lure. That's taken the P155. The bib has snapped off my lure. I'm doing it. Today I am blaming my tools.
All I'm hearing is excuses.
With a few hours walking up and down the riverbank and a couple of fish in hand, it's time to get back on the road.
Classic fishing for us on off-grid.
The fact that we're terrible at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
It's not too much further to the historical landmark of the Mount Mulligan mine, a site with a sad story that significantly influenced mining practices and the region's history. Have a look at that. That is spectacular. Big old rocky ridge out there, over in the distance. The ridge of Mount Mulligan sticks out like, well, a pimple on a bum. That is impressive. Way back in the early 1900s, this was the site of the Mount Mulligan town site. Quite a thriving little town, thanks to the Mount Mulligan mine. Nothing left of it today except a few relics, chimney over here. But there's a heck of a story that goes along with the Mount Mulligan mine. Well, there we go, eh? The old Mount Mulligan mine site, coal mine, 1920s. Significant for a couple of reasons, not the least of which is have a go at that backdrop. For all of you fly in, fly out folk, if you've got a backdrop like that, significant also because this was the site of one of Australia's worst ever mine disasters. September 1921, a series of explosions rocked the mine, resulting in the death, unfortunately, of 75 mine workers. Every individual that was down the mine on the day was killed due to the explosion. What's interesting about that explosion was In the 6 years that the mine had been operating out here, they had had absolutely zero issues with the mine at all. There had been not one accident. It was deemed to be one of the safest mines in the country, and it's for that reason that maybe complacency took over, who knows, but they were using fire-based lights like the carbide light we saw at Brian's shed, as opposed to safety lights. There was a gas leak, boom, the explosions went off. 75 people killed, all the bodies were exhumed out of the mine, and the mine reopened about 4 months later and of course went on to continue mining for another couple of years until it ran out of its useful life. But it remains to this day to be one of Australia's worst, in terms of lives lost, worst mining disasters out here at Mount Mulligan. Well, some of you will have seen Lord of the Rings. Remember the little house the hobbits lived in?
Yeah.
This is where that was filmed, just here. This is one of the replicas. It dates back to the early 1800s. And it was made out of the pebbles, as you can see there, the square pebbles of the wombats used to live out here. So, quite interesting. You can come and have a look inside if you like.
Funny, I was actually under the impression it was a brick kiln.
A brick kiln?
Yeah.
A lot of people make that mistake.
Yeah.
How cool is this? This is the old brick kiln. There wouldn't be too many of these still standing in the condition this one is. If you have a look up here, this is all held together just by the pressure of the bricks on each other. It's actually a little bit unnerving, if I'm not lying. This could fall down at any stage, I reckon.
Good to know.
Good to know, isn't it? But if you look up, you can see the gaps between the bricks. You can actually see light through the bricks. There's not much holding this up except just the weight of itself. There's something in that, I think. Just the weight of itself.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's sick. Very cool. With the day getting on, it's time to head for one place I reckon we might just call camp. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. Lappa, the old Espanol Hotel, the Lappa pub. The only pub in Australia that I know of, but you got to bring your own beer. And I'm not even joking. I'll have to grab a beer out of the fridge. The infamous pub with no beer. How are you, mate? I've heard it's impolite to come to the pub with no beer without buying the public a beer.
You're my new best friend. You're a champion. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. Cheers. Yoo-hoo. Group cheers. I like it. Lappa Junction used to play an important part for the railways on the tablelands. It was a former site of a railway workers' camp, with the hotel itself being built in 1900. Since then, it's changed through a few hands and was later renamed the Espanol Hotel. It's a cracking old pub that's got plenty of history. How long have you been at the Lappa pub for?
More than half a lifetime.
It's nice, man. It's nice. Good life.
It's a renovator's delight.
All night, man. Depends on which way you want to look at it.
Couple of hours west of Cairns, the Lappa pub, the only pub I've ever been to where the prerequisites are you've got to bring your own grog. Other than that, it's exactly like any other pub in Australia. You got to watch your footing as well. There are a few holes in the floorboards. The Lappa pub, one of the nicest pubs, friendliest pubs I've ever been to anywhere in Australia.
Well, cheers, man. That's a lovely thing to say.
Thank you very much. I just heard your chicken out the back too. He's alive and well.
He's up and going, isn't he? Unbelievable.
If you're out this way, folks, on your way up the middle, stop in, say good day to the Yappa, and stay at the back at the Lappa. It's a lovely little spot. That's a wrap on a huge day, and what a spot to call camp. Make sure you add this one to your Cape York itinerary. Today is another early start as we continue to push north along this back route. I'm feeling a little sentimental. This area holds a special place for me, and there's one spot I want to revisit. The old Chiligo smelters here, pretty important cultural site for a number of reasons, but I'm not about to get into that. The little town of Chiligo lies just behind there, and that is a town of great significance to me because that's where my entire four-wheel drive career kicked off. I'll tell you a story. I was travelling around Australia doing a big lap in 2006. Coming up that east coast there was a huge cyclone coming through and there was a rain band going all up and down the east coast. I was in one of those canvas campers, put two and two together. I'd been wet for about 4 weeks. Went to the tourist bureau and I said, is there anything I can do? I need to dry my gear out. And I'll never forget this to this day. The lady behind the desk said to me, yeah, give Chiligo a go. Up the range I came, blue skies, parked up at Chiligo. I dried everything out, had a look around here. It was absolutely fantastic. Now, you need to fast forward about a year. I've finished my trip and I'm in a newsagent. I'm looking through the Four Wheel Drive magazine and I see you can write articles. I thought, I reckon I could do that. So I wrote an article into the magazine and I called the article give Chiligo a go. I got a reply back and they said, article is fantastic. It's exactly what we're looking for, but we're not gonna publish it. They said, what we want you to do is scrap that one and start from the very beginning of your trip, do 12 articles over a year. We're gonna call it Long Trip in a Shorty. I did just that. It was actually 15 articles, and it was from right there that I kick-started my career in the four-wheel drive industry, and it is the very reason I'm sitting here right now telling you this story, and I reckon I owe it all to that little town right there of Chiligo. And that's why it's so special to me. When passing through Chiligo, make sure you stop off and visit the caves.
Hello!
The area is scattered with spectacular limestone caves, Aboriginal rock art, and jagged rocky outcrops. Some of the most incredible landscapes you'll find in the Cape, and it's the perfect spot to pull in for a quick look or a week-long stay.
I feel like Indiana Jones just keeps going.
Just coming up to the Walsh River. Now it is mid-June. Ordinarily there'd be virtually no water in this. A very late wet season up here, and there's no tourists, virtually no one around the place at the moment, and I think that late wet season scared a lot of people off. Holy heck, have a go at this, will you?
Mate, that's bloody spectacular. This is definitely starting to feel a little bit more far north Queensland.
The stunning scenery continues to unfold as we dive into Queensland's lush rivers and tropical landscapes, heading north towards tonight's campsite. Have a go at that for a water crossing. What a ripper. Palmer River. You'll know that river. We right now are way up the upper depths of it. The Palmer River is renowned for its gold rush history and picturesque rugged scenery. Wowzers. How cool is that?
It's crazy how full this is.
Just a lot deeper than I was expecting. Oh no! Come on! Get it!
Come on, you can do it! Oh.
We're so close!
You're gonna earn it today, Dal. There you go, he's done it.
Bloody worries.
How's this, team? We've been travelling around Australia in this car now for, however many years it's been. And since day one, we've had this River of Gold book in the back seat.
This thing is set from the 1870s. True story about the gold rush that actually came to light out here and how this area was all founded. This is where the book is set. It's set in this area at the Palmer River. So, just a fun little fact about the D-Max. You find a little bit of everything in here.
Yeah, little bits of Graham too.
After another few hours travelling along the western side of the Palmer Goldfields region, we've spotted camp for the night. To have the vans in tow and a fully set up camp in a matter of minutes, it doesn't get any better.
Changing things up.
Put the old Mavericks through hell over the last few days. Corrugations, washouts. We haven't been slow either. We've been getting along at a good pace. Now, I've had to clean out my dust suppression system up here a couple of times. The filter's been absolutely chock-a-block, and it's done an admirable job of keeping dust out of the inside of the van. It's what you want. But it's these recesses here that just cop it all day long. You can imagine the amount of dust that comes through here. Look, you can see it up on here. You don't want it getting into your kitchen and your food supplies. That's when it just becomes absolutely annoying. And to their credit, Maverick have really done a good job on these compartments here. You can see the amount of dust on the edge. Look at that. You can see it all down here, but it just does not get past their seal. And you can see here with the kitchen, completely dust free, and that's what you want at the end of the day. You want to sit down and have a beer. You don't want to be doing house duties. How good is this camp? Now, I'm going to confess something to you. I didn't know this was here.
Mate, it's a bloody pearl of a spot.
I had no idea, mate.
So good.
Pulled into this one here, and I thought to myself, this'll do.
The one thing we both want to know is...
What is it about this pub that we are going to that you've never been to before?
Look, the only thing about it for me is that I've never been to it before.
Well, we've actually never been there too, so...
Well, you might have.
Oh, okay.
Like, you might have. You lived in Cairns for a long time.
I did. I was up here for 3 years, mate. I've got a rough idea on where you're trying to take us.
Okay.
You know, I've connected
Put in
those
the dots.
dots.
Okay.
It's only a couple of hours out of Cairns, but we've done it the off-grid way. We've gone a bit out.
We could be 4 days away. I don't know yet. But the fact of the matter is, I kind of wear it as a badge of honour that I've never been to this pub, but it is time. It's your first times up the Cape.
Yep.
Yes.
So we're gonna pop a cherry, so to speak.
Ooh,
Lovely.
if you will.
You up the Cape, me going to this pub, and tonight we're going to cook a special dish in celebration.
I like it.
Lovely.
You're on cooking duties.
I'm on cooking duties. Have you got a vegetable peeler? Rightio, best I get stuck into it now. Basically, we're making chicken and rice, as simple as that might be. The chicken's going to be baked in lemon and oregano and a few other bits and pieces. So in its own right, the chicken should be the hero of the dish, but it's not. It's actually the rice, and the chicken's going to be like what gives the rice twice the flavour it ordinarily would have. It's called, well, surprise rice or special rice or hero rice is a good name for it, because the rice actually steals the dish. Chicken's good, but the rice is what steals the dish. I'll give you more info as we go. What I wanted to show you now, though, I decided to lash out, spend a bit of money, treat myself. So I wanted to get some new, well, to be honest with you, my cookware was looking very how you going. So I wanted to get some new cookware pretty much for every four-wheel drive I own, so I can sort of take it around with me. So I wanted some stuff that was going to be quality, yet I could sort of pack into itself and store easily. Anyway, long story short, what I came up with was this stuff from Cedar Summit. I'll give you a look at it. It's actually quite natty. Everything packs into itself. We've got cups there, we've got some plates and bowls here. They all come together like that, so you don't lose them, you don't sort of put them somewhere and you don't find them again because they're all stuck together. There's my knife. Now, what I like about it is it's induction compatible. You can cook no matter where or what the weather is doing. If it's blowing a gale, you can still heat up a meal. Big, thick stainless steel, 3-layer base, controls the heat exceptionally well, and the silicone on the sides, it's really strong. Everything packs away into itself. Take that out, there's my bowls, my plates, they're all inside there. I can put my cups in there, you pop them out, boop, cup. I can take that, it can go in the 62, it can go in the GU. If I need to use the D-Max for something, that can be chucked into one of these bags and taken with me. Bee's knees. And it is super solid quality gear as well. It's not gonna help my cooking skills any, but it makes me feel like I'm a better chef. The marinade is super simple. We're talking a big whack of a bit of lemon zest right here. I'm gonna add the juice of 2 lemons. Oh, look at the guns on him. Oregano, garlic, hearty squeeze of that. Some Himalayan apple wood smoked salt. Next, just give it all a good old how you going? How's your mother? Perfect. We'll let that marinate for a bit.
There you go now.
Thank you, dear.
Next stage of the process, I'm gonna brown these bad boys. See what I'm talking about with regard to the marinade? Have a go at that. Skin side down, let's brown these puppies off. We're gonna add our onions, brown them off. We get the old camp dogs come in and say g'day. This one here is fully made himself at home. Rightio, we need a cup and a half, a cup and a bit, I don't know, 2 cups of rice, whatever you feel like. I've already put a bit in here and I figured I'd add a bit more. Because I think if I wanted a glass of wine, that'd be about how much I'd have. Oh yeah. We're just gonna add the chicken back on top. Don't fold it in or do anything crazy. Just add your little Marylands. Take her over to the fire and we are gonna cook this from the top. Half an hour, 40 minutes or so, we'll check that. Now, while we wait, you know the saying, we hydrate.
Red button.
Harley, how's your vino looking, mate? Holy balls. Jeepers, there's some weight. Somehow that chicken's put on weight. Bit like me. Right, hey, come on you guys. Let's go. Here, quick, give us your bowl. As I said.
It looks like a risotto.
Here's a little risotto.
Risotto?
Have a little bit more, I think you need it. Here, come here.
Oh, yeah, I need
Get
that.
that deep into you.
Oh.
Charles, come here.
Oh, baby.
What's the verdict, kids?
Guys, this is so good.
I haven't had a go yet.
Have a go, mate.
Let me into it. Oh, it's hot. You can see the steam coming off it.
The lemony zest is like,
Well played, sir.
Super easy as well. Anyone can do this one.
Oh, well, look, let's get this down, see how the fire turns out, and enjoy the rest of the night.
I agree, mate. Big day tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh, that's hot. Sorry, that burnt my leg. We wake to another spectacular Cape York morning, camped right next to a billabong and nestled amongst the mountains. Those of you that have been following along the last few years now will know that this time of morning, if you've lost me, come and find a beam of sunshine. You'll see me standing in it. Love warming up this way first thing in the morning. Sun's coming up over this mountain over here. The sounds of Cape York just emanating through the bush. And today, all going well. I've got something I want to show you that I'm excited about, and I hope you will be too. For now though, excuse me while I soak up the sun's rays and just have a minute to myself. Bloody lovely. With some brekkie into us and the goal of reaching this pub by the end of the day, we're wasting no time packing up and getting into it. Roads and tracks in Australia, there are so many. It is phenomenal how many there are. And I think, and I'm included in this, I think we get a little bit caught up in sort of going with the big named roads, the big named tracks. Over to our east, a lot of traffic, a lot of people. We've got that Maytown, Old Coach Road, you've got the PDR, the start of the Tele Track up this way, and this time of year, they'd be really starting to get a workout. I guess what I'm just trying to illustrate by doing the Cape ever so slightly different is that we do have choices. We don't have to stick to the PDR. It's not the only way to get up the top of the Cape. If I can give you guys anything to take away from this, it's have a look at your maps like we did, and we just picked this track. It looked like it linked us up. Sensational, absolutely sensational. Righty, I reckon. Yep, this'll do. Look at that beastie. I've been getting right back into me photography lately. Got in touch with my mate Adam at George's Cameras, and I told him what I was kind of trying to do, and he's put together a little kit for me. I've got the Sony A7C II right here, a couple of lenses. This is a 16 to 25. The perfect little kit this. Going to be doing a few photography tips as we go through the rest of Cape York and as we move on for the rest of the year. As you know, freaking passionate about photography. I love it. First and foremost, how to position your four-wheel drive. Get your vehicle like I've done here, and sort of have it quartering away from you so you can sort of see the front and you can see down the side. Creates a bit of depth and a bit of interest in the vehicle. Secondly, see how I've pointed my tyres so you can see the side of the tyres, not front on with the tyres. Effectively, what we're doing here is taking a portrait. So my focal point for this particular photo will be that headlight right there. I'm not too fussed about the rest. However, I am going to use an f-stop of about f8, and that'll make sure the whole vehicle is nice and in focus. Lastly, when you're taking a shot of your vehicle, you want to try and make it look tough, especially you Toyota drivers. You need all the help you can get. As a result of which, use quite a wide lens. I've chosen my 16 to 25 here, and I'm actually going to take this photo at about 18 mil. So it's going to be quite an emphasised photo at the front of the vehicle, making the vehicle look big, staunch. To do that, wide lens, get down nice and low, and try and emphasise the vehicle looking up at it as if it's looking down on you. So practice, have a try at all these different things and find out what you like and what works for you. Right now though, if you excuse me, helps if you've got a good looking subject as well. We got that one covered. If there's any tips or techniques you'd like to know when it comes to photography, drop them in the comments below and I'll try and cover them in the coming months. Carrying spare fuel on these Cape York trips is always a good idea. You might have long range tanks, there may be fuel stops along the way, however, you just never know if that servo will be out of fuel or whether it simply doesn't have the fuel type you need. A quick roadside stop and we've given the big rigs a drink. So let's talk about this iconic pub. Yeah, it shocks me too that I've never been to it. I've driven past it. I've gone so close to it that it's within calling distance. I don't know anyone that's been to Cape York that hasn't been to this pub. And so I kind of adopted it as my white whale. It's the one pub, outback pub, iconic pub that I hadn't been to. You can tick off all the ones you have been to. There's only one for me that I haven't been to. And I kind of held on to it as a badge of honour. Well, it's about time. Righto. What do you reckon it is? Come on. I know you reckon you both got an idea. What's the pub?
We've been talking it over. It has to be, it's got to be, it's the one and only, it's the Lion's Den, isn't it?
Mate, it is the Lion's Den. Hard to believe I have never been to I never stepped foot over the boundary.
How is this a thing? You're up here every second year. Yeah. I don't understand how you haven't done the Lion's Den.
I know. It's perplexing, isn't it? It's just never been the right time. We've just never been at the right area in the right time to drop into the Lion's Den for me. Sean, I've been here multiple times. Me, this is it. Here it is right here. Let's tick this one off my bucket list, eh?
Happy to be here when you pop the cherry, so to speak.
Excellent. I think the tradition is that it's your shout. I think that's the tradition.
It's our first time too.
Seems to be the tradition at all the pubs that we go to, sure. But look, happy to pick one up for you here, mate.
The historic Lion's Den Hotel has been around for well over 100 years and is one of Australia's most iconic pubs. However, this place is lucky to still be around. Last December, Cyclone Jasper wreaked havoc in the area with torrential flooding that saw this place go almost completely under. A sight that's hard to believe now. hats must go off to the monumental effort that's been put in from the crew here to get this place back up and running. It's seriously a miracle that it's here at all. If you're up this way, folks, please drop in, buy a beer, have a meal, and support this iconic old pub. Cheers to us.
Yeah.
Congrats, Dave.
Bucket list item ticked off.
We did it.
Lions Den Hotel. It's kind of bizarre that I've never been here. It's like everyone that I was speaking to, like,
Iconic.
oh, welcome back. You know, you're back at the Lions Den. I haven't been to the Lions Den before. It's a bit embarrassing. I'm like, hey, I'm back here.
Good
Anywho,
job.
this, for us, marks the end of this little section of the trip, but we're in the Cape for what do we reckon, another 3 weeks?
Minimum.
A minimum of another 3 weeks up here. So, whilst this is the end of this little portion, it's the beginning of another 3 weeks for us.
Got to make it all the way to the tip.
Now, what I want to know in the comments down below, just really quickly, I've just ticked off the Lions Den on my outback pub bucket list. Where should we go? There's an outback pub that none of us have been to before. In the comments down below, let us know. We'll try and get there on off-grid. For now, though, I'm going to call this the end of one and the start of another.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, guys. Hey, if we see you on the road on off-grid, come and say good day. That's a wrap on another epic trip. As we mentioned though, this is only just the beginning. Coming up next time on Off Grid, we're sticking to the theme of doing Cape York a little different. Oh, she's steep at the top. We're going from east to west, straight through the guts of Cape York. Second low and go, go, go. On the hunt for barramundi, epic camps, and visiting some areas you typically wouldn't think of when barreling up the Cape. Oh, jeepers creepers.